Hello, everyone. I hope everybody's having a great week. This week is Lab 5, Plate Tectonics and Natural Hazards. Before we get started, there's something important we need to cover, which is that coming up in a couple of weeks, on October 13th or 14th, depending on which section you're in, you have the first lab midterm. Um, it's really important to note this date because even though most of our stuff is asynchronous, and I know a lot of you all like to do it on Sundays and Sunday nights specifically, this is going to be not asynchronous. You're going to have to be available at our regular start of the lab. And if you're not going to be available at that time, you need to let me know in advance. I'll remind you all about this again next week, but it's something to start thinking about is that test, just like the lecture test, it's not going to take the whole time or anything like that. And there is going to be another lab that week, but it's important to be available for the start of your regularly scheduled lab section. All right, so now let's hop into the lab. There's not going to be a PowerPoint this week because this lab is relatively straightforward and quick in its own way. So let's hop over and take a look at it. One second. Sorry about this, guys. All right, here we go. So here's the lab for this week. Again, Lab 5, Plate Tectonics and Natural Hazards. There's not much background. Most of this stuff should have been covered in lecture or it'll be covered in the lab itself. So if we look at the lab, there's going to be two main activities for this week. The first one is to watch a video called The Ring of Fire. The link is here in the lab, and here it is on YouTube. It is pretty much exactly an hour long, so make sure you give yourself enough time to watch this video. And it's really important that you take notes while you watch the video because the majority of the questions on the quiz are probably going to come from this video directly. So you're going to want that background information. You're going to want to be able to look back through those notes. Then, after you watch that video, you're going to come and do this activity where the rest of the questions will be pulled from. So if you click the link here, you'll go to this website. And it should look something like this. It might look a little bit different, but it should have all the features. And so what you can see here is it's a map of all the volcanoes and earthquakes over a certain period of time. And you can see the options up here that you're going to have to mess with. So you can hide the volcanoes, you can hide the earthquakes. For earthquakes, if you have them showing, sometimes it messes up a little bit. So if you lose your options, just refresh the page like I just did there. But with earthquakes, if, for example, you just want to look at them, you can select the magnitude of earthquakes you want to see. So all of them or just over a certain magnitude. And you can also select over time. So these are the past 24 hours. You can also do past 48, past week, and past 2 weeks. So these are some of the functions you're going to be messing with during the lab. And if you click on them, they provide a little bit more information. And then the other half is looking at volcanoes. So if you are looking at a volcano here, first you can change to look at all volcanoes, just ones with unrest, warnings or minor activity, or just eruptions. And if you click one, you can click more, and this is going to be important for the lab. You can click more to get more information about the volcano. You can look at its current status. You can look at what type of volcano it is, which you can also do on the website. You can look at its typical eruption style. And you can look at some of the earthquakes that have been going on recently. And you can, for example, click view all recent quakes. And you're going to be doing some of these activities during the lab. But just in case any of the instructions were unclear, I wanted to go over those very brief basics. So along with taking notes while you watch the video, you're going to want to answer the questions as you do the lab here, because your quiz is going to come from information from the video and from questions and information from activity 2. So pay attention while you do it. And as long as you take good notes, write your answers down, you'll do great on the quiz. And I think that's about all for this week. Make sure to start looking at your calendars and thinking about the upcoming lab midterm. And make sure to leave yourself enough time this week to watch the video and do the lab, because it might take a little more time than usual. All right. Thank you, everybody. And I hope you have a great week.